do now is kind of give you an overview of the why Scruples, how we fit in the big picture. And this is going to get a little bit personal for those of you who've got any history with these companies. What I'm going to show you here are different companies in the beauty industry. That doesn't make them bad companies, it makes them different companies. And how we fit or don't fit in this model. And the reason why I'm going to show it to you is so you understand what their challenge is as a business. And when you compete against them in the market, which you're about to come Tuesday morning, how you can go after them to get your product or our product in the marketplace. You have to understand your enemy. Or as Pat says, how's that? Learn the animal you hunt, learn their habits. So you got to know what their Achilles heel is, and they have one, to know how to get our brand in against it. And it's really cool because we could very easily have been part of this situation, but we decided not to do it when I mentioned in 09. What you see here, and I don't know if it's even up to date, it might not be, it changes every few months, is the industry acquisitions over the last 10 or 15 years. And if you look at the black top here, those are, for those of you who don't know and you're new, the top 5 personal care companies in the world. From P&G to L'Oreal to Shiseido to Estee Lauder to Unilever, Henkel. Oh, it has changed. See, we gotta add Cody in there because they just bought Wella. Oh well. Changed it as of last week. This is important for one reason, because these companies that are in this group are now part of somebody's stock market somewhere in the world. And for those of you who don't understand how the stock market works, it's quite simple. It's all about stock price. And how you get the stock price up, there's 2 basic ways. 1, increase the sales. 2, reduce your expenses. Most of these companies increase their sales by acquisition, buying more companies. As a matter of fact, for many years, they planned these acquisitions on the anniversary of the previous acquisition so that the stock didn't get clobbered. No bullshit, BS, that's exactly what they did. So what happened is they had to acquire companies. The problem is they ran out of companies to acquire. There's none left, hardly any. So the other way to grow their stock price is to cut expenses. Many of these companies had some of the best artistic teams and hairdressing teams and educational teams in the industry. And at their day, they were better than we were. Most of those people are gone. They have been removed from the company because they were a drag on the profit. And a drag on the profit hurts the stock price. When the stock price goes down, people get fired. They're not bad business, they're just different. They're publicly traded companies, which means, for them, they have to perform. And if they don't, things change. We're privately held. Now, we want to grow our business, don't get me wrong, we're not a bunch of schmucks. But we're not under the pressure that these guys are under. And this is what makes this industry flawed. It's called the industry vertical integration chart. And I've worked with a very large multinational who represented other multinationals, and I totally understand, and Pete, you probably lived it too, the pressure that is put on this supply chain. This is a supply chain, and the pressure from the top down through that chain is what is inherently wrong with our professional beauty industry. In other words, this guy says my budget is X number of millions of dollars, and I'm going to do my payroll out of it, run my expenses, my product, my R&D, everything on that dollar amount. If this guy doesn't buy that dollar amount, this guy has one choice. Either put pressure on this guy to buy it, or leak it out the side. And that's what happens. Because this guy has to buy a number. And if he doesn't buy that number, he's either terminated, or he has to buy it, and he gets stuck with the inventory. And if he can't get you guys to sell it, it leaks out here. This is what's wrong with the beauty industry, right there. Now you get the pressure to sell it, and if you don't, well, we all know what happens then, right? Get your resume ready. They feel the pressure, and this client, we'll talk about them later. This business model is flawed because the end user, or people who use 90% of the products in the beauty industry, which is the hairdressers who use it, they're artists and they're independent contractors. They're under no pressure in this chain. Because, you know, I'll just go buy it somewhere else. I'll buy another brand. I don't care. I'll go to another store. I don't care. You give me too much grief about buying too much stuff, unless you give me something spectacular to keep me loyal, I'll switch. That drives these guys nuts. They can't control the supply chain. Well, they try. They have programs to try to, but by and large, if an independent contractor is an independent, that's the key word, they can do what they want. Makes it very hard for this to work, and because this guy puts pressure on that guy, on his purchase numbers, the system is flawed. Scruples is this way. It has this is something we carried over from Jack and Frank. When you had, and your family had Scruples first time, did you have a number you had to buy every year?
I had a handshake.
Handshake. Did you know in 33 years we've never put a distributor on a purchase contract? Never. Never will. Not as long as I'm around. Why? We want to be a partner with our distributors, our sales teams, our salons, in helping them grow and be successful. Everybody can be successful. Hello. We have another exhibition. How you doing?
Come in, listen.
Listen, we need a chair. Right there. Oh, wait. Maybe we can get one outside.
I got it. Right here. I got you. Yeah, I'll go check. I'll go. You want to sit?
Without a purchase contract in place, the flow of product, without pushing, is one that works in partnership, not under pressure. So, again, we're not schmucks. We want to grow the business. But we want to earn that growth. We don't expect, under the pressure from, you know, a purchase contract that he needs to buy so much, which means you guys got to sell so much or he's going to be in trouble. We want to grow this together, and that's always stood us in good stead. I've never seen anybody starve at Scruples. I've never seen anybody, you know, lose their house at Scruples, that works at Scruples. I've seen a lot of people be very successful. From myself, to our staff, to you guys, to the distributors. We still have 7 of our original distributors, including John, from our launch. That is unheard of for those of you who've been in the beauty business for a few years. 7. We don't make changes very often. Sometimes that's one of our weaknesses. We don't make changes fast enough, but that's who we are. We want to try. And in this case, in this market, we tried for 6 years. That's long enough. That's just on the verge of being an L showing up on your version. It didn't quite come up with like fun. It was broken. So this is important for us to just understand who we are and why you want to partner with us. This stuff is not necessarily so much for hairdressers, although some business salon owners like this because they understand more of the business. Many hairdressers don't get this, and that's okay. We don't mind that. It's just more for you. Here's where we talk to hairdressers and salon owners that makes this really interesting. And I guess I'm going to go to here first. Why partner with Scruples? And we mean business. Yes, as I said, we can do a lot of great things, but we mean business. There are 2 types of sales, and there is the sale of what you would call one-time sale products or one-off products or long-term commitment products, i.e. siding on your house, your actual house. You don't buy and sell houses every week. When you normally buy a house, you stay there for years. And then there is the residual sales. Now, why do we try to sell color? What is it that what do you get out of color? It's the hardest thing to sell, but it's the thing that we all strive for. Why is that? Annuity. It's a slot machine, right? It's called residual sales. It's why we all work so hard for it. And it's really important to what you're about is making your living, making your mortgage payments, as it is for us. But for a hairdresser, that's a used product, that's a tool. The only way they can make bigger revenue is on retail sales. But they've given up, for all intents and purposes, on retail. How many of you have had salons that have just said, I'm out of the retail game? Happens. There's a reason why, and I have a theory on it, and I explain it better with a glass of wine in my hand, but I really believe the multinationals don't want hairdressers to sell professional products. They got that supply chain already sorted out, figured out, with lots of big footprints and lots of signage and end caps and all of the stuff that they learned that P&G is the best at in terms of selling consumer goods. They've applied to the professional beauty industry. So why would they want to teach a hairdresser how to put a display at the front station or how to, put something at the styling station? That's too small scale for them. So what happens is the supply chain gets all mutated or screwed up. The manufacturer to the distributor to the stylist and salon. When that stylist or the salon sells it to the consumer, they're talking retail, here's what happens. They lose control at that point. It can go, you tell me, Target, Walmart, CVS, online. It can go to other chains. It can go, oh my God, TJ Maxx, There's dozens of places that consumer can go after that hairdresser sells them that product. So the supply chain is broken. Well, it's not broken. It's for the people who like this kind of supply chain, it's diversified. That's what they call it. We have a diversified supply chain. It's a nice way of saying it. It's a nice way of saying that you sell to anybody who will buy. Our supply chain is still fairly much intact. Occasionally we had the weird thing, but it's not something that's part of our master plan. We sell to distributors who sell to hairdressers, who sell to a consumer. If the consumer likes it, this stuff works. Where does that consumer have to go to get it again? Back up the supply chain. It works. That was the way this industry was built. But when people got involved in it, again, not bad companies, just different, and they had a different mandate than what we had for the professional beauty industry, they had to change that business model to protect what they had bought. You don't spend the money you spend on some of these companies with the multiples you gave the previous owners without wanting a return on your investment. And they weren't getting it the way it was. So they said, you know what? We need a higher return on investment. We need to open up the distribution channels to more than one location. That's how it happens. That's it. Who gets hurt in this? I didn't see a whole bunch of manufacturers go out of business during the recession. I didn't see that. During this recession, these guys did okay. They just went in different directions. I saw some distributors go out of business. But I saw a lot of salons go out of business through this recession. More salons went out of business during that recession in comparison than distributors or manufacturers. Because they got caught up in this tsunami of this industry change and didn't really see it coming and didn't prepare for it and didn't protect their business, even though they really had the opportunity to protect it to a certain extent. Because you can protect this product that you sell to that client, but when that client leaves and they buy it somewhere else, you lose that protection. Or you can switch to a brand that says, you know what, I'm going to protect your business model. This is when we talk about meaning business. Pat's going to talk about it in a real street savvy sense in a few minutes. And you'll remember the supply chain chart because it's a big part of what we talk about in the marketplace. And so instead of giving up, it's about fighting back. That requires a change in mindset. And it requires a level of trust, which we've earned because, Lord knows, we've had opportunities to put it in these places and said, no, that's where you put your money where your mouth is. It's harder to say no than it is to say, yes. It's really hard because I'm a sales animal too. And somebody says your opening PO is X, and you go, bonus. You have to say no, because it's not who we are. Even internationally, I'm in charge of international sales too. And I get people calling me from the Eastern Bloc, especially. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Crazy Wild West fool. And they want to buy our retail brand. I won't sell it to them. If you're an international distributor, 50% of your opening order is not in color, you're not getting a brand. I don't care who you are. Now that's hard to do, because that's container loads, kids. You say no. Are you gonna get into the game properly? Because we're 65% color. Even taking in industry anomalies, you should be 50% color. And if you don't want to invest 50% in color, and you just want our retail brands, no. Talk is cheap. Saying no is expensive. And I want to get that clear to you guys. You're talking to one of the owners, and the guy who's in charge of international sales. I will not sell an international distributor unless he takes 50% of his opening order in color. That scares off all of the crazies and diverters in a hurry.
We should actually clap on that, because
Yeah, no joke.
I mean, because, guys, we all know, it goes out, it comes right
Oh,
back.
yeah, it doesn't even go out, it
And
stays in the harbor.
It never leaves the harbor.
It might get into a container and it might come back out of it. I think every order with some of our manufacturers should come with a set of bolt cutters. Because that's what they need to get that thing moving. Anyway, it's important for you to understand who we are. Because we're starting out new here. And I want you to feel confident when you have those tough days. And you're like, man, I'm not getting anywhere with this thing. I cannot get a new salon. I cannot get this thing turning. I don't want you to give up. Because we didn't give up. We're in this for the long haul. And I want you to be able to say, I'm in this for the long haul. And I know that Scruples has my back. Because Riley told me he's not going to do this. So I'm going to keep plugging away. Because for those of you who've never sold a brand before, it's not the easiest line to get in. I'll tell you what, for those of you who have sold it for a long time, it's a hell of a hard line to get out of the salon once it's in. That's the great joy of this brand. It takes a little bit of work, a little bit of understanding, a lot of passion, because I'm all about passion when it comes to sales. When it's in, especially if you can get them to one of our trainings, that's a paycheck for years to come. That'll pay for part of those. It's worth the effort. Okay. Residual business, blah, blah, blah. Client retention. Quick little point on client retention. 65% of customers who buy retail products at the salon stay in that salon. 75% when they buy 2 products, and 89% of the clients who buy 3 products in a salon stay loyal to that salon. Wow. How's that for helping a salon? Simple math. You want client retention, which is really, really important? Okay. Sell them some retail. Because the statistics prove that they stay loyal. But I don't blame a hairdresser. Why would they go to all the trouble of trying to explain you need these 3 products to use at home, when I know full well the next time you need them, you might not buy them for me. Oh, screw it. Can't really get.
They never get the
Well, they don't. They do because they've been burned. If they sell a brand and they can't control it, they lose it. So, client loyalty, very, very important. Client retention, really important to, obviously, a hairdresser's business. And for me, there are 3 ways to help a salon grow their business. We're going to talk about that. I can probably do that this afternoon. I'll do it really quickly because it ties in everything that Lindsay's going to talk about tomorrow and everything that Pat and Rob are going to talk about tonight and tomorrow. The number 1 way to help a hairdresser grow their business is to increase their service ticket. Number 1. I don't care. I've been through every Redken Summit training. I used to do the Palma Joanna and train to death. I loved it. It was great stuff, but at the end of the day, you got to drill it down to the simplest form. How do you help a hairdresser? If you can increase their service ticket, that's the number 1 way, because it's the thing they do most often during the year. Every day, they crank this, and I'll show it to you on a spreadsheet in a second, how important that is. The number 2 way is to get new clients. I'll give you that. It's not the most important, it's the second most important. And the number 3 way is to retain those clients. Long down the list, by the way, number 4, increase your retail sales. Number 5, reduce your operating expenses. That's how it goes. 1, increase your service ticket. 2, get more clients. 3, retain those clients. 4, increase your retail sales. 5, reduce your operating expenses. That, I just saved you thousands of dollars of going to a summit course. Right? That's what it is. In a nutshell, that's how you do it. Now the question is, how do you do it with our brand? And our mandate today and tomorrow is to give you the tools to do that so that you're confident when you sit down with a salon owner or a stylist and say, this is about business. I got the tools you need to help you increase your service ticket, to help you get new clients, to help you keep those clients, to help your retail sales, and reducing your operating expenses. I got that covered. And truth be known, as we said at Scruples, if a brand that we make or a category that we're in does not do 3 out of those 5 things, we don't bring it. There's no sense to it because it's not going to help anybody. There's no sense pipelining Pete's Warehouse with a brand that doesn't do something to help his clients. He's going to choke on it. He wants to have something that helps you help your clients. And if it doesn't do it, oh well. That's our logic. That's our thought process. Partnering with Scruples, we're going to spend a little time tomorrow talking about helping. We are probably one of the best in the beauty industry in signage and promotional support materials that we need to do in this day and age to compete with Ulta. How the heck did Ulta become an $8 billion company out of nowhere? Do you know what they sell?
Everything.
Everything. But they started selling our professional products. They just did it better than everybody else. And we took a while to catch up this industry. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We'll show you tomorrow some pretty cool stuff, especially if the Wi-Fi is faster. And how to help you be a true consultant to your salons and your stylists, helping them with their business, planning their business, not a concept. This whole thing about meaning business, you own it, you build it, you keep it. You own the brand, and you can talk to hairdressers about that. This is your brand. Build this brand, and you get to keep this brand. That is just a little tagline that's a little more modern than saying, we don't support diversion, which everybody's kind of eyes glaze over anymore. They glaze over because they've given up. They don't have to give up if they have an option. But that, breaking through that glaze is our job to, with a little bit of passion, say, you know what? I didn't really have something like this before. Now I have something that we can fight back with. I'm willing to work with you on it. It's not a huge expense. It's a lot of work on my part to get the promotions in place, to get the signage in place. But I want you to believe that the company that I'm going to talk to you about has a brand that if you own this line and you build it, you'll get to keep this. And they've got 33 years as a track record. It's not like they come out of nowhere and every new product says they're professional only because they don't have any history of fight. We have 30 years to fight. How many of your hairdresser friends know what their average service ticket is? Okay, so do you know what yours is? $180 a service ticket. Now, there's a successful hairdresser.
That's impressive.
Who, by the way, uses Scruples. Just in case you didn't know. I didn't plant her in here. She came on her own free will. I will feed her tonight, but that's pretty much it. If they don't know what their average service ticket is, you have 2 choices. You can either help them learn it, or you can let them flounder away doing what they do, not knowing who they are and what they make. Right? How do they learn? If they don't have a computer system, that's okay too. I don't really care. Give them a calendar for the month. Tell them to write down service tickets in the day. It's going to be roughly 7 or 8 tickets. Write it down every day for a month. Total up each day, divide it by the amount of clients you have. There's your service tickets, not brain surgery. It's a start before they have an operating. It's something. It's a homework because without knowing where their service ticket is, you can't go anywhere. You can't gauge what they're going to grow. So find that out first. If they don't have it, teach them how to do it. Give them a calendar and start over. If you take the average service ticket at $100 and you want to give them a 15% increase in their service ticket per customer, on the amount of customers they do currently, I don't know if you can see this, Pete.
We can look at it.
You increase their business. This is one hairdresser, by the way, folks. This isn't a salon. $31,200 in a year. Didn't get them one new client, didn't give them a discount, didn't do anything but just increase their service ticket. And guys, ladies, that is the one thing we do the best in the beauty industry, is helping them increase their service ticket. Lindsay's going to show you tomorrow. Okay, I'm just teasing you, okay? But yes, sir.
I just wanted to say,
in regards to this. It becomes even more important today because of all the salon suites that have popped up. This becomes really important because I have to tell you, the majority of those people are clueless. And that's not being mean, but it is just the truth. And I think this comes into play more so now than ever.
I agree. As a consultative sales force, which is, I know Pete's background, and many people who've been in this industry for years, which you've been successful at, it's our job. We're gonna help these guys. Otherwise, the attrition rate's bad enough in this industry. Wouldn't it be nice to have them be successful as opposed to, fall off the wayside? And so many do, and not a lot of people teach this. There are some that do, don't get me wrong, but they make it so flippin' complicated and so expensive to learn that the average hairdresser can't afford it. Now, I have utmost respect for a lot of things that Aveda did. I really do. And I don't normally name names in these meetings, but they've been incredible. But they have their own challenges coming forward too. And we're having a bit of fun against them right now, and Rob will talk about that. But the truth of the matter is, even at our level, even without fancy calculators and spreadsheets, just keeping track on your calendar, but then teaching them that the product range you want to show them with a demo or with a class will help them increase their service ticket. Now multiply that if you got 4 stylists to a salon owner, 120 grand new revenue. Nothing, no renovation, no advertising, nothing. Just using these products and teaching these staff members how to use it properly. New clients, I don't want to get into that too much, but you can see there, if you pick up 2 clients a month and you keep them, there's a trick. And your average ticket's $115, you pick up 20 grand more in business. So, if you're a sales consultant and you walk into an independent contractor and you say, I just spent the coolest last day and a half with this company that I've heard about before, been around a long time, they've totally reinvented themselves. And they speak to the language of hairdressers, because they're owned by hairdressers. We've always been with hairdressers, other than me, although people have asked, I am a hairdresser, I'm not. But I have something I want to sit down with you, and I want to say, I want to work with you in conjunction with a product range that you can use, that I can pretty much get you $50,000 and more revenue in the next year, if you work with me. That's got to get somebody's attention. Not just existing, new. That's got to be 50 grand in new business, yeah. And by the way, you'll save time doing it. And by the way, I'll reduce your inventory doing it. And by the way, we're going to motivate you and educate you with some pretty cool techniques. We have more technicals for free on our website than any other company in the beauty industry. Do you know that? We have tons of technicals. Just join our website. That's join, but when you do, there's a ton of them. And our educators have them with us. Free technicals. So artistically, saving time, making more money, it's all there. You just got to have the belief that it's there. You'll get that after a while when you get to know us better and you get to know our educators and get to know Rob and Pat and what we can all do to help you. But this is an opportunity of I wanted to say a lifetime, because you would say, really? I've heard that 50 times, right, sir? Yeah. Once a year, a lifetime opportunity. The truth of the matter is, in your house, with what recently happened with your lead color line, this is a marriage made in heaven. It really is. You went this way with one line, and I think we totally filled that gap and more. At the timing is perfect. So it is an opportunity for your company to really stretch its wings and show the industry, not that we're caring what they think, that you're a player in helping salons' business grow. That's the cool thing. It's not about just having another brand. Your customers are better. Nothing makes me happier than to hear her make a $180 service ticket. I'm like, cool, man. How long have you been doing hair now?
10 years.
It's a pretty good ticket after 10 years. I'll take that. And that's what makes this so much fun. So what we have here today is the start. And my hope for this session tonight was just to get to meet you and get you to understand where our head is at and where our heart is at. More important than our head, our heart. Because the passion that I'm showing here, you should see the girls, Tracy and me, when they get going. They get just as passionate, just as fired up. And that translates through to our team. And I want to introduce these two guys and give them a chance to talk in an overview sense of what they do. Because their passion for this project I have to give them credit, is unrivaled. They pushed us at head office and pushed us to do more for their project, which I think is ultimately where we need to be.